Mick, thank you so much for joining us here today at FF News' coverage of Sibos 2022. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. It is Monday morning, so if you talk to me on Thursday morning, I might be feeling a bit different. But no, excited. Sibos, this is the first in-person Sibos in 3 years, so we're all kind of feeling a little bit sheepish to start with, but no, excited for the week.
Amazing. And Mick, can you tell our viewers your name, your job role and your organisation?
My name is Mick Fennell. I'm Business Line Director for Payments at Temenos, so I'm responsible for how we engage in payments, what our go-to-market propositions are, and working a lot with our teams, but also with customers, with the market. And I work for Temenos. Temenos are the leading provider of composable banking, and our platform is widely used throughout the world. Over 3,000 banks are our customers, and we look to really focus on digital transformation. We do that a lot for financial institutions around the world. And so payments is a huge part of that. If you think about the core of banking is accounts and payments. So within pretty much most engagements we have, we are helping the banks to modernize and digitize their payment flows.
Incredible, yeah, and I think you've really touched on a point there, in that payments has been the fuel for the digital revolution within banking. And one thing that it's really impacted has been the ability to lend efficiently. Now we're looking at buy now, pay later as a value add that new banks and payment companies can provide. So what's your view on buy now, pay later? How has Temenos enabled some of your institutions to offer that service?
Yeah, obviously buy now, pay later has been a very popular subject and proposition over the last few years. And so we've been doing a lot of work with our customer creating the BNPL processes. So we see the growth in it. Yeah. I think for me, I think about what are the systems and the platforms required. And so when you talk about payments innovation and a payment component or function like buy now, pay later, it has to actually touch a number of processing points within the institution. So it's not just out at the channel as to how you interact with the customer, how you're providing that credit and lending, but then it's got to interact with your account processing, it's got to generate multiple mini loans, and then it's also got to process the payment transaction. So there are a number of areas that need to be enhanced and need to work together to offer buy now, pay later. So it all sounds very easy, but like everything, the devil's in the detail. And so what we did is we developed a whole solution that we can offer people that runs in the cloud. And so therefore we can offer that to existing customers, to new customers, and we can enable them to provide BNPL services very quickly, very quick to market, and providing that flexibility in how they want to roll that out to the customer. So we see great growth in it, great interest. I agree, recently there's obviously been a little bit of a slowdown on BNPL because of some of the stories and that comes down to regulation. It comes down to managing risk. And again, your systems have to be able to cope with that. So it's got to be able to cope with looking at that risk, looking at the credit risk that is being taken on by you as an institution. So you need all of your systems working with your risk monitoring solutions. Again, we look to do that. One of the key things we have is an integrated platform. That's why we manage so much business out there. So we take a kind of holistic view of these things rather than just a separate different silo.
I think that's a good way to handle it, because I think every good financial product that's successful will have those ups and downs as the risk becomes mitigated and reevaluated, and suddenly it becomes a permanent feature of a financial product's catalogue. Now, one other form of financial innovation we're seeing is the creation of central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. Yeah. Now, crypto has been awash for the last decade with stories of incredible returns, exciting technology, huge shrinking, huge explosions. Do you think central bank digital currencies will be put paid to some of that, will streamline the system, make people more comfortable with it? How do you see the changes to the payment flows with the advent of CBDCs?
Well, first of all, I think central banks getting involved and central bank digital currencies are definitely the way to go, because the biggest problem with crypto, there's just the risk profile. And once you get the central banks involved, and I know the people who started out crypto feel, oh, this is taken away from the freedom. But ultimately, if you want people to, currencies are about trust. You need to trust that currency, trust that there's something behind it, that the value is going to be maintained there and managed.
As a Brit, I'm certainly seeing that.
Especially through turbulent times. Yeah, you can see the currencies are not set in stone. They do move, and you have to have trust in them. So, there's two sides to it. One is putting in the regulation behind it and putting that structure around the currency. And the second thing is the actual technology behind it and how you interact with that currency. So that obviously floats our boat. We think about, right, how are we going to clear and settle in those digital currencies? And there are some changes compared to how we normally do clearing and settlement from a technical point of view, messaging and things like that, changing more over to blockchain-based technologies. But in principle, it's still much the same thing, that currencies have always been digital. Our banking systems deal with digital currencies and have, but nonetheless, the central bank digital currencies, rather than the fiat kind of existing currencies, they are going to be different because they're different from a technology point of view. They're different in how we interact with them. So what we have to do is build what we would call adapters to be able to do that communication. And we have to wait till the central banks define, well, what is their particular service? And there's not a lot of them at the moment. There's 4 or 5 of the central banks have come out with their kind of proposals. So people are thinking about pilot projects with them and programs. And so we, as a partner to a lot of financial institutions, well, listen, which ones do you want to start with? So we're normally very enthusiastic about these things, but it takes two to tango. It means that our customers also have to want to go into one of these pilots. And at the moment, we see that as slow going. Yeah. It's not an avalanche yet, but it could become that way. So definitely the future is CBDC. But from a technical point of view, we're starting on that journey.
Now, we've covered 2 giant financial talking points currently, and we're going to end with one more, and that is environmental, social and governance finance. And I'd be intrigued to hear how Temenos is looking at utilising this and providing value add to your customers too.
Yeah, it's a big part of the Temenos ethos and strategy. As it is among lots of companies within the industry. Yeah. However, within Temenos, one of the ways in which we're impacting our customers is giving them options in how they take our software, how they take our proposition, how they deploy. And of course, the move to cloud is one of those big aspects of how we bring value. And what I mean by that is lowering the cost of processing, lowering the footprint. Listen, a huge subject at the moment is the price of energy. And so if we can reduce that, and reuse various components across multiple institutions, we're able to bring down, for us, the industry costs for things that used to impact the environment. So, in other words, being more efficient with the kind of processing power, etc. Now, governance is a huge thing around how do we make sure that we're socially responsible? How do we make sure that, I would always bring in business ethics and the methods and the rules and the code of conduct by which a company works. Within Temenos, we have a code of conduct that really tries to instill in all members of Temenos things around collaboration, cooperation, things about understanding people's differences and trying to bring a human aspect. We are a technology company, but every technology company is based on humans. And the interaction you have with customers in the market is that human interaction. And how do we make sure that those interactions are thinking of the bigger picture in how we how we try and sustain and maintain this planet as we move forward working together. So I think it is a big, we're a technology company. We try and do things to help as much as we can. And that's both from a human aspect and a technology aspect.